A newborn baby once entered the world into a cloud of smoke, song, fear, and celebration. For ancient humans, a birth was never just a quiet family moment. It was a big event. A very big event. Bigger than finding a dry cave. Bigger than catching dinner. Child meant survival, hope, future help, and honestly a lot of extra crying for everyone around. But what did people actually do when a baby was born thousands of years ago? The answer is not one single answer. Ancient humans were not all the same. They lived in deserts, forests, frozen lands, villages, and cities. They had different beliefs, different tools, and different ideas about life itself. Some babies were welcomed with great joy. Some were wrapped in ritual. Some were checked by elders. Some were cleaned, named, blessed, hidden, or even feared. Birth of a child could mean feast food, prayers to spirits, gifts from neighbors, very tired parents trying to stay awake without modern coffee. First, there was the waiting. In many ancient communities, pregnancy was watched closely. People looked for signs. They listened to stories from older women. They used the wisdom of midwives, healers, and grandmothers, who often knew far more than anyone else in the room. When labor began, the mother would usually be helped by other women. Men often stayed out of the way, not because they were not interested, but because birth was seen as women's work. Because, frankly, there was already enough going on. Birth was seen as women's work, and because, frankly, there was already enough going on. So ancient birth was part medicine, part magic, part community, and part panic. Medicine calmed bodies, magic calmed fears, community calmed loneliness, and panic calmed by people simply showing up. In some places, the baby was blessed before everyone admired the tiny face. Elsewhere, the baby might be hidden for protection from bad luck. A baby could even change the whole mood of a home. It was a beginning, but also a test of care, belief, and togetherness. And in that way, a newborn was never just a baby. The delivery itself could happen in a hut, tent, a house, a cave, shelter, a special corner of a family space. There were no hospital walls, no bright lights, no calm voice saying, "You're doing great." Still, ancient people had methods, used warm water, oils, herbs, cloths, and supportive hands. Some communities had birthing stools or ropes. Some mothers squatted or knelt. Others sat in positions that made gravity do some of the work. Ancient humans were practical. Your species depends on successful births. You learned to improvise. Once the baby arrived, the first tasks were simple but serious. The child had to breathe. The baby had to be cleaned. The cord had to be cut or tied. In many places, people would rub the newborn, wash them, and wrap them in cloth or animal skin. This was not just about comfort. It was about keeping the baby alive. Newborn is tiny, soft, and dramatic in the way all newborns are dramatic. They lose heat fast. They need protection fast. So the first ancient response was often, keep it warm, keep it safe, keep it close. Then came the checking. Was the baby healthy? Did they cry? Did they move? They seemed strong. Ancient people were not reading medical charts. They were good observers. They knew that a crying baby was often a good sign. Silence could be worrying. Elders, midwives, or family leaders might inspect the infant and make a quick judgment. After that came naming. A name was not just a label. Many ancient people also celebrated with food. If the family had enough to share, there might be a feast. Bread, porridge, meat, fruit, honey, beer, or other local foods could be offered. Neighbors might bring gifts. These could be cloth, baskets, oil, charms, toys, or little handmade items. In small communities, a birth was everybody's business. A new child meant the group had one more future hunter, gatherer, farmer, maker, or caregiver. That was worth cheering for. Sometimes, though, celebration was mixed with caution. Infant death was common in ancient times, so joy could live next to fear. People celebrated, but they also watched carefully, as if happiness itself might scare the baby away. Religious and spiritual rituals were also common. Ancient humans often believed that a newborn entered a world full of unseen forces. To protect the child, families might call on gods, ancestors, spirits, or sacred animals. They might burn incense, offer prayers, hang protective objects, or mark the baby's body with symbols. Some cultures used amulets. Others used special words. Some believed the first days were dangerous and needed extra guarding. In many places, the baby was not just a baby. They were a soul making a first trip into a risky world. So the family did what humans have always done when scared and hopeful at the same time. They made rituals. The mother's care mattered too, even if history often forgets that part. Ancient societies knew in different ways that the mother needed rest, food, warmth, and support. Other women might help with cleaning, cooking, holding the baby, or taking care of older children. In some cultures, the mother stayed indoors, or in a special recovery space for days or even weeks. She might be treated as spiritually important or physically vulnerable. Modern people often think ancient births were just one moment. Not at all. Baby changed the family's rhythm, chores, sleep, and social rules. Not every child was welcomed in the same way, though. This is the hard part. Ancient life could be loving, but it could also be harsh. Some babies born into families with too little food, too much danger, or too many mouths to feed faced a grim start. In some societies, decisions about whether a baby would be raised were influenced by survival pressure, social status, or beliefs about health. This is one of the darkest parts of ancient human history. It reminds us that history is not a neat story. It is a human story, and humans have always been capable of both tenderness and tragedy. Still, for many families, the birth of a child was a reason to gather, protect, and hope. Baby meant the family line continued. The stories continued. Work continued. Laughter, arguments, recipes, songs, and memories could live on through one more small person. In a world without modern schools or baby books, people taught children by holding them, watching them, talking to them, and folding them into daily life from the start. Babies were carried close. They heard voices. They learned faces. They smelled smoke from the fire, milk from the mother, and the familiar life of the group. And that closeness was a kind of technology, not made of metal, made of love, routine, and survival. Ancient humans used slings, wraps, baskets, and arms, carried babies everywhere, because walking beside the adults was safer than being left alone. The baby became part of the household rhythm. Sleep when you can, feed when needed, protect always. That may sound simple, but it was a powerful system. Kept communities alive long before strollers, cribs, and parenting manuals ever existed. So what did ancient humans do when a child was born? They helped the mother, cleaned the baby, they named the child, prayed, sang, cooked, and watched. They celebrated if they could. They worried, always a little. They wrapped the newborn against the cold world and tried to give that tiny person a future. In doing all of that, they showed something very human. No matter how old the world is, a baby can still make people gather around, speak softly, and believe in tomorrow. That part has never really changed. Somewhere between the fires of ancient camps and the lights of modern homes, first reaction to new life is still wonder. A small face appears, cry breaks the silence, and for a moment, everyone looks up and thinks the same thing. Here we go again. The world has one more chance.